I finally get a chance to talk to Tim Factor here with Yaesu. Hello, Tim.
Hi there, Eric.
And what we're going to do today is we've got a lot of videos planned. We'll check out the DX101D and stuff like that. But I want to go around and get some other videos. You know, of all the videos, 400 videos and 75,000 followers, I have a lot of questions of people that always say, you know, for my first handheld, or you know, what would be this or what would be that, and maybe we can cover real quick with Tim these select handhelds that they have on display here at Gigaparts. And I've owned some of these. I've owned a 6R, a 5R, a 7R, 8R, 8GR. I have one of these, a 60R that I've used. This is like by far bestseller, bulletproof. So maybe Tim can walk us through real quick in a nutshell, and we'll see how Yaesu has come, and you know what you may look at. Then you can go online and research more information at the Gigaparts or Yaesu site and see which one you may want as a new ham or an experienced ham that wants to add one to their collection. So, Mr. Tim,
Yes.
let's talk about some of these here. Let's start at, I guess, left to right, huh?
Left to right, yes. Now, when we're talking about a handheld radio, we need to decide what we're going to use the radio for, and are we just starting out in the hobby? Is this our first radio, or is this our second, third, fourth, or who knows how many radios, handhelds you have? So let's assume that right now you're starting out, you're looking for your first handheld radio. I always encourage first-time users to keep it simple.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot to remember, and you don't need to make it more difficult with the complexity of the radio. The stalwart beginner's radio has been the FT60.
I mean, everybody knows what an
Everybody
FT60
knows
is,
this.
and they're bulletproof.
They are bulletproof, they are easy to use, they are inexpensive, but they will last forever. This is the kind of radio. I still have my first FT60. I just throw it in the glove box.
Yeah. You could always have, you can have handhelds with bells and whistles and stuff like the higher end models, but there's always something about just grabbing one of these and going out and using it for just having it on you for different frequencies and not worried about anything else but,
Absolutely.
analog on it,
One of the concerns that handheld users have, especially beginners, is about programming and repeaters
Right.
and that complexity.
Right.
What makes this so special, and it's on all of our radios, some better than others, if you'll notice that above all the numerical keys, there is a typewritten alpha command in orange.
Mm-hmm.
These are shortcuts. And to access repeater codes and setups, all you have to do is not worry about a big list of menu settings, but if you'll notice the 1 key and the 2 key, above the 1 it says SQ type,
Right.
and above the 2 it says code.
Mm-hmm.
So these shortcut keys allow you to go to turn the tone on,
Set the
put
tone
the tone very
squelch
easy.
or the
Yeah.
CTCSS and away you go. Right.
Yeah, just by pressing the F and the key that you want.
Right, and my VX7R back in the day when I had that was the same way. You could set that thing up with a couple button pushes.
Exactly. And
Because I didn't have a programming cable back then,
Yes.
and back then I didn't have enough money to buy one, and I just wanted to be able to type it right in the front.
Exactly
You know?
right. And you can do this, and as I said, we keep this format on
Yeah.
most of our radios.
Uh-huh.
The second thing to remember about a handheld is handhelds come in single band, they come in dual band, they come in dual band single receive, dual band double receive. Those are the formats.
Mm-hmm.
Now, in the beginning, I always encourage, this is just my preference, that new hams get at least a dual band radio.
Right.
Because you just don't know.
You don't know if it's going to be a 440 saturated area or a 2 meter.
You just don't.
Right.
But you don't necessarily in the beginning need a dual band, dual receive.
Right.
That becomes much more specific for various uses, as we'll talk about as we get up into those radios. Plus, it raises the cost as well.
Right.
So, at the FT60 dual band single receive, the FT70 dual band single receive.
Now, is the FT70 digital also?
Yes.
Right.
The 70 is digital.
Okay.
The 65 is dual band single receive.
So the 65 is, I think, the newer format of the 60, right?
Exactly.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Now, you can see, as long as we're talking about the 65, you can see what changed on us is we did away on this little
With the shortcut
with
keys.
the shortcut keys.
Right.
and therefore that means you are going to have to use a menu system.
Right.
So, but again, price point. And it's rugged, very rugged, and a lot of people I know I prefer radios I can put in a shirt pocket.
Yeah.
You know, and a rugged because I drop things.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Especially. So these two radios are in the three radios, excuse me, in the dual band single receiver. The little FT70 is just a single band 2-meter radio. It's designed for just single use, maybe some, I don't know, emergency work or
Well,
dedicated work.
probably they could use that with a Mars mod and use that for other frequencies, maybe.
Yeah, absolutely,
yeah.
something like that. Very inexpensive,
Yeah.
rugged. This, by the way, just a little fun fact. We used to, Yaesu had Vertex Standard, which was a commercial radio division of us. And this radio came out of that brand of radio. So it's rocks. I don't recommend this, by the way, but you could drive over this. And I actually had a customer.
Yeah.
By the way, it's not a guarantee you can drive over it.
Yeah.
But I had a customer who actually brought his radio in. He says, Tim, you're not going to believe this. I did drive over this, and the only thing that was cracked was the screen.
And it survived.
Okay, and it survived, but
Yeah.
it was transmitting. So this is just a basic 2-meter radio.
Yeah, because there's people out there that are more active than me, and they really go dropping stuff when they're hiking and stuff like that. You know,
Exactly,
so
yeah.
right. Okay.
As we move along, now the venerable VX6, which has been around for...
I've had one. I had a 5R and a 6R.
I love this. As a matter of fact, I'm going to do a little self-promotion here. I wrote an article called Radio in a Bag, which was published in the QST magazine. And one of the ideas of the radio in a bag was to be able to grab and go. And I needed a single, or I needed at least a dual band radio to do that. But I also wanted one which was very small in size, waterproof. This is IPX7, which means you can submerge it for 30 minutes in 3 feet of water. But it's 3 bands.
That's 6 meters on it.
6 meters.
Right.
It's 1.5 watt, 6 meters, 2 meter and 440. So in emergency work, I say in an emergency, I don't know where I'll get out, but I want more chances than less to do so. And it also, again, fits in the hand nicely. And while this may be a minor detail, in emergency work, I can put this in my pocket, in a shirt pocket, and have hands free. Which, to me, this is personal, but I like that for this size radio.
Okay.
Again, you can drop that radio and not worry about it. Okay, now we move into what I call the new generation of radios. The 70, the 3, and the 2.
And I even had the FT1 that's already been, I guess they, decommit or
Decommissioned it.
but it was a solid radio too. But I had
Yeah.
that's why I started with that. But go
That's
on.
because we moved on to the 2. We wanted
Right.
to now bring in some other features.
Right.
These radios all were designed in the world of System Fusion. And for those who may not know, System Fusion is Yaesu's digital mode, which allows us to use analog and digital on the same radio. So you do not have to choose one mode over the other. These radios, when it says System Fusion, means that it'll detect analog, it'll detect digital. Also, as we develop the Wires X protocol, which has become extremely popular now, we have been able to advance the handhelds into that system. Before, it really was pretty much mobile radio that was hooking up using an HRI 200. So we now were able to integrate the radios, the 2 and the 3, into a more independent Wires X protocol.
Doesn't the 991 also do wires?
Yes.
We'll get to that in another video, but I know that does digital as well.
It does, but there's a difference. As long as you brought it up, the 991 will not allow you to be a mode radio, only an access radio, which means you can access it. But the 2 and the 3, you can actually do what's called a mode radio, probably more than we want to get into right now.
Right.
But it does mean you have broader application in Wires X, even with the handheld.
Right.
Okay.
Would you say this 70D is like the entry into digital compared to these two?
Exactly
With the
right.
less features and the less GPS, and it doesn't have GPS, does it?
No, it doesn't have GPS. It has
Just the digital standard.
the digital
C4FM.
standard and the Wires X, which is for a relatively inexpensive radio, dual band, single receive, wires X, has all the shortcut keys. You can actually, it's like the 60, you can program the radio from the front, IPX7, and it's the size again comes down. Comparing.
Yeah.
All right. So that's a wonderful starter radio into wires X without spending a lot of money.
Now I have something to ask about this
Yes.
because I think when I made a video on the 3D when it came out, I think I might have said something that wasn't the intention, and I'll clear myself up here. The 3 was not intended to replace the 2. Is that correct?
No.
Or is it just an upgraded, or is it separate? I mean, I guess I assumed that once the 3 come out, the 2 is just going to be behind, but that's not the case.
No, right now the 2 is still
Right.
being sold,
Right.
and I, of course, I'm the last to know what Yates is going to take off or put on the market.
Right, right.
But no, there's no talk about replacing the 2.
Right, and I think that's what I said. I said, well, this is a replacement. So, but no, the 2 is still a viable option for C4FM, wires X, stuff like that. But
What we did with the 3 was be able to develop what's called PDN, personal digital network for your C4FM wires X, and there was a great demand for a smaller screen and smaller size, so we met that demand.
and the color, I like the color
The
too.
color, yes, the screen was much more definition. But both of these radios are alive and well, and it's a question of preference at this point, whether
Yeah.
you like this screen or in size or this screen.
Right, right, and I have no problem with 2. I mean, 3 would be nice too, but yeah, I guess I assumed that they were replacing it, but no, it's just an upgraded model. That's
Yeah,
all.
upgraded
Yeah.
model.
Cadillac and Buick, right?
Yeah, that's a good analogy.
So-
for
so-
GM not use.
Yeah, so for the people that are watching that may be new, what's the span of like, I got to think about this now. Like this would be probably the most inexpensive, the FT60, would
Yeah.
you say?
Yeah.
Would be the most inexpensive.
Well, this would be
Okay, the single band, right.
Then this
Okay.
would be the next one.
Okay,
Then we come up here.
right.
then-
And the 6R is still in production?
Still in production.
Wow,
Yeah,
okay.
still in production.
And I had mine well over 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Wow, that was a nice
and
video.
actually, I take that back. This would be the next one. Then this, and this.
Okay, so it's cheaper to get a
70.
70 with the digital in it.
Excuse me. Yes.
And if you don't need 6 and all that, you can go digital or analog with that. And then you move up here into the 2D. And I have a couple videos, guys that are watching on this and this one. I don't think I have a video on this one or some of the other ones. I've had a lot of them, but I have a couple videos on these. I actually have a video on sending pictures with this, wires X functionality and stuff like that. You can check those out on my channel and see all about those. And I appreciate the time on this, Tim. We got to, someone that's looking, they always get the question, well, what kind of handheld? Or maybe they assume this does all the digital, but you can see there's a lot of differences between these, and you can go online and check out the full details on yaesu.com. Thank you very much, Tim, for your
You're
time.
welcome, Eric. Thank you very much for your interest. We
And
appreciate it.
73, everybody.
73.